A 34-year-old woman is behind bars after accidentally shooting her 10-year-old son. At 11:21 p.m. on Thursday, the 6th of July, authorities responded to Grady Memorial Hospital in Clayton County, Georgia on report of a person shot. Medical staff told police Brittany Parks and her boyfriend brought a child to the hospital and the victim had died. Brittany told officers she was unloading a handgun when it accidentally discharged. She said that the bullet pierced through the wall and into another room and hit her son. Through multiple interviews, Brittany and her boyfriend gave different accounts of what led up to the shooting. Police then developed probable cause against Brittany based on her and her boyfriend's statements. On the 7th of July, officers arrested Brittany and booked her into the Clayton County Jail on charges of involuntary manslaughter, second-degree cruelty to children and reckless conduct. The investigation into the matter continues. A 47-year-old man is behind bars in connection to the death of his 49-year-old wife last month. At 5:41 a.m. on Sunday the 25th of June, a passerby reported seeing a deceased woman laying in the roadway near the intersection of Legend Road and Killing Road west of Highway 371 in Fort Ripley, Minnesota. Authorities responded to the scene and found the body. The next day, the investigators identified the victim as Angela Marie McLennan and determined that she was fatally struck by a vehicle. Police said that after spending 2 weeks investigating and piecing the events leading up to Angela's death, authorities identified the victim's husband, Tony James McLennan, as a suspect. Angela and Tony lived together in their Fort Ripley home. At 8:30 p.m. on Monday the 10th of July, Tony was arrested and charged with second-degree murder and criminal vehicular homicide. He remains held at the Crow Wing County Jail. The motive of the killing is unclear as the investigation into the matter continues. A middle school principal was arrested in a sting operation after allegedly attempted to meet up with a 16-year-old girl for sex in a remote area. 55-year-old Derek Erickson started communicating on Snapchat with a 16-year-old student and allegedly made statements and eventually overt actions of his intentions to engage in sex with the minor. He allegedly posed as a younger adult and then used his position as a Johnson City middle school principal in New York, along with school district database information, to convince the 16-year-old who he really was. Daniel and the teen had allegedly been speaking for about a week prior to their scheduled meet-up on the 7th of July. He allegedly made multiple attempts to meet with her, including going to her home. The teen, however, did not leave her house to meet him. On the 5th of July, the Broome County Sheriff's Office learned about Daniel's alleged intentions to see the teen, and after that point there was no further risk of harm to the juvenile female at any time. Detectives went to the location where Daniel and the teen were supposed to meet and arrested him on charges of luring a child and attempted rape. He reportedly brought a box of condoms, a McDonald's Grimace shake and chicken nuggets. Daniel's been held at the Broome County Jail without bond. The investigation into the matter continues. A 29-year-old Texas woman is behind bars after she left her 2-year-old son home alone while she went out clubbing. The Odessa Police Department said a relative called 911 shortly after midnight on Saturday the 8th of July to say she found the boy running around his living room in an apparently empty home. When an officer arrived at the home along Lakeside Drive in Odessa, Texas, he found the main door unlocked and no one answered when he announced himself. The officer stated that the child walked over to him and he grabbed him. The relative who called 911 told the officer that the boy's mother, Gretel Suarez Negrin, might be at Club 305, and other officers found a vehicle in the back parking lot. Another relative told officers it was Gretel's custody weekend, and she should be the only one at the residence. The officer noted that the boy could have wandered into the busy roadway or the lake, which was only within feet of his home. Gretel was arrested and charged with abandoning and endangering a child. She remains held at the Ector County Jail on a $30,000 bond. If convicted, Gretel faces up to 20 years behind bars. A 38-year-old Pikeville, Tennessee man is behind bars for fatally shooting a 24-year-old woman during a domestic dispute. At around 8 a.m. on Monday the 10th of July, authorities responded to a home along Cherry Road in Sparta, Tennessee, and reports of shots fired. When officers arrived at the property, they found Clayton Matthew Watson sitting on the front porch with his 8-year-old son, telling him that he'll be going away to prison for a long time. At that time, the child's mother ran out to say that Clayton had shot and killed Dara Jade Baker inside the house, and Clayton was taken into custody. When officers entered the home, They found Dara's unresponsive body with gunshot wounds and a gun located nearby. The relationship between Clayton and Dara has not been disclosed, and it's unclear what events led up to the shooting. Clayton is charged with first-degree murder, and he's held at the White County Jail on a $1 million bail. The investigation into the matter continues. A 20-year-old man is behind bars for fatally stabbing his uncle. At just before 2 p.m. on Sunday the 9th of July, authorities were called to the Southern Regional Medical Center in Riverdale, Georgia, in reference to a man who had been stabbed. Detectives learnt that the stabbing occurred at a home less than a mile away, in the 6700 block of Fellawater Circle. When officers arrived at the residence, they found the suspect identified as Jabaris McCrary, sitting on the front porch with several injuries from a knife. He reportedly stabbed his uncle when a verbal argument turned physical. The victim, whose age and identity were not released, was rushed to the hospital by other family members. He later died due to his injuries. Jabaris was arrested and charged with felony murder and possession of a knife during the commission of a crime. The investigation into the matter continues.